What really happened at the Oxford Union? Was it an Indian withdrawal or a Pakistani no-show? Let's break down the chaos, the accusations, and the bizarre series of events that turned a prestigious debate into an international farce. Stay tuned, because the details are wild. It was supposed to be a blockbuster event at the world-famous Oxford Union. The topic: this house believes that India's response to Pakistan is a populist strategy sold as security policy, a fiery motion guaranteed to spark intense discussion. But what unfolded was less a debate and more a masterclass in political maneuvering and public finger-pointing. Indian lawyer J Sai Deepak, who is set to speak for the proposition, has come out with a detailed, blow-by-blow account that directly challenges the narrative pushed by Pakistan. And trust me, his version of events paints a very different picture. According to Deepak, the entire event was on shaky ground from the start. He pointed out that key leadership positions at the Oxford Union were held by individuals with connections to Pakistan. The president, Musa Haraj, is allegedly the son of Pakistan's Minister of Defense Production, and the treasurer was also a Pakistani national. This isn't a smoking gun, but it sets a certain context for what was about to happen. The first major hiccup came just 2 days before the debate, scheduled for November 27th. The original high-profile Indian speakers, former Army Chief General Narvane and Dr. Subramanian Swamy, had to pull out due to unavoidable commitments. This left the Indian side scrambling for replacements. Despite the incredibly short notice, Sai Deepak stepped up. He was already prepared to argue the case and managed to assemble a new team from within the UK, bringing on board Manu Kajuria and Pundit Satish K. Sharma. The Indian side was ready to go, even with a last-minute lineup. And then, just hours before they were supposed to head to Oxford, the whole thing collapsed. At 3:13 p.m. on the day of the debate, Deepak says he received a call. The message, the Pakistani delegation, which included prominent figures like former Foreign Minister Haina Rabbani Kar and Defense Minister Kawai Muhammad Asif, hadn't even landed in London yet. Naturally, hearing that your opponents aren't even in the country, the Indian team decided to abandon their journey to Oxford. Why travel all that way for a debate that wasn't going to happen? It seemed like a clear-cut cancellation. But this is where the story takes a truly bizarre turn. Later, Deepak claims he received information that the Pakistani delegation had, in fact, landed. Not only that, they were apparently already checked into a hotel in Oxford itself. This revelation led Deepak to launch a blistering attack on social media. He accused the Pakistani side of deserting the battlefield, even before the battle begins. He suggested they simply lacked the courage to face a live, unscripted debate against a well-prepared Indian team. He didn't hold back, also criticizing the Oxford Union leadership for, in his words, allowing the prestigious institution to be dragged in the muck and effectively become a mouthpiece for the Pakistan High Commission. So, what was the official story from the other side? Well, the Pakistan High Commission in London released a statement that told a completely different tale. They claimed it was the Indian delegation that had withdrawn at the last minute. They framed this as India handing Pakistan a walkover, suggesting that India lacked the confidence to defend its security policies in what they called a neutral and intellectually rigorous debate. So, you have two completely contradictory stories. One side says the other ran away, and the other side says the exact same thing. Who are we to believe? Let's look at the logic. The Indian team, despite losing its star speakers, had successfully put together a replacement team. They were ready. The information they received about the Pakistani team's travel plans is the key. If they were told their opponents hadn't landed, it's perfectly logical for them not to travel. The subsequent claim that the Pakistani team was actually in Oxford all along is what turns this from a simple scheduling issue into what Sai Deepak calls a Pakistani gambit. Indian lawmaker Priyanka Chaturvedi also weighed in, mocking the situation. On X, She wrote, "Pakistan is crying again over an Oxford Union debate. This is for the record. Once again they have proved to be liars. Expecting any better from them was not even on my list. It's clear that from the Indian perspective, this was a deliberate move by Pakistan to avoid the debate, while trying to score a public relations victory. Let's analyze the walkover claim. A walkover typically happens when one team is present and ready, and the other simply doesn't show up. But here, the situation is clouded by misinformation. The Indian team's decision not to travel was based on the information that the Pakistani team wouldn't be there. If that information was false or deliberately misleading, then who is truly at fault? The Pakistan High Commission's statement conveniently mentions the original, high-profile Indian speakers who had withdrawn days earlier, perhaps to make the Indian withdrawal narrative seem more plausible. But they failed to acknowledge that a replacement team was confirmed and ready to participate. The role of the Oxford Union itself is also under scrutiny. As the organizers, they were responsible for communication and logistics. How could such a massive communication breakdown occur? Why was one side told the other hadn't arrived if they were, in fact, already in the city? Deepak's criticism of the unionist leadership, allowing it to be used in this way, raises serious questions about the institution as neutrality and organizational competence in this specific instance. This wasn't just a simple debate cancellation. It became a proxy battle for national narratives. Pakistan wanted to frame India as being afraid to defend its policies on a global stage. India, through Sai Deepak's detailed account, wanted to portray Pakistan as being intellectually cowardly, unwilling to face a direct confrontation of ideas without the safety net of a pre-planned scenario. The motion itself was provocative. India's response to Pakistan is a populist strategy sold as security policy. This is a critique that has been leveled against India's security posture. A proper debate would have forced both sides to present evidence, arguments, and rebuttals. The Indian side was likely prepared to defend its actions, such as the surgical strikes and the Balakot airstrike, as necessary security measures, while the Pakistani side would have argued they were more for domestic political consumption. The fact that this debate didn't happen is a loss for everyone who wanted to see these ideas tested in an open forum. Instead of an intellectual exchange, we got a public slanging match fought through press releases and social media posts. In the court of public opinion, who wins? It depends on which narrative you find more credible. Do you believe that a full Indian team, ready and prepared, suddenly got cold feet at the last second? Or do you believe that they were misled about their opponent's whereabouts in a deliberate ploy to manufacture a walkover? Considering Sai Deepak's detailed timeline, including the specific time of the phone call he received, his account provides a strong, verifiable sequence of events. The Pakistani side's statement, by contrast, is a more general accusation that glosses over the critical details of the final hours. This incident highlights the intense rivalry between India and Pakistan, where even a university debate can become a matter of national pride and diplomatic sparring. The Oxford Union, a historic bastion of free speech and debate, found itself caught in the middle, with its reputation taking a hit. In the end, what was meant to be a showcase of intellectual rigor descended into a farce. It's a story of accusations and counter-accusations, of logistical chaos and alleged deception. While we may never get a truly objective, third-party confirmation of every single detail, the evidence presented by J Sai Deepak certainly paints a compelling picture of a debate sabotaged by a strategic no-show, rather than a last-minute withdrawal. It seems the real populist strategy was avoiding the debate itself, while claiming a victory that never happened. What do you think? Who do you believe in this saga of the non-debate at Oxford? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's a fascinating case study in modern political gamesmanship. Thanks for watching. And if you found this breakdown interesting, Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the headlines. See you next time.